In my old setup, I used to have a wall at the end of the desk which would hold all of my clone troopers, both customs, official Lego ones. Up until August 1st, the only official Lego clone trooper in the brand new 2020 style I have been missing from the last 5 years is that 212 Airborne, which I'm still yet to pick up. Will I ever one day? Maybe. You'll have to subscribe and stay tuned to see if I do. There always seems to be something missing from my collection, whether it be one hilt, one blade or one clone trooper. But I've been tidying around the studio here and I've got this massive box from the UCS Slave 1, which we built for 10k subscribers. Thank you again for the amazing milestone. But inside this isn't actually the Slave 1. Of course not. It's built in the background and has been for a while. Instead, I've got all the hexagons from that wall. Let's see if I can lift this up without spilling any of them. And I think it's about time to get them back out. Before they were stacked vertically, which meant on a horizontal ratio, you couldn't really see too many. But this time, I'm planning to line them as much as I can along the back. And we also have a little bit of vertical space here if we need the extra room. I have to say there's about 200 separate hexagons in here. That might be stretching it. I know there's over 100. We had more than 100 clones on the wall. But since then, my armies have also grown a little. So the plan for today is to get those hexagons on this wall, and I've already started it. This is what the clone display wall looked like before, and it does look really cool. I cannot wait to bring it back, and I wonder what it will look like with a separate background, because as you can now see, there's no clone wall on display. It's just a white wall with a few marks still where I'm yet to paint over where we drilled the holes. But the only hexagons that have backgrounds are the ones with the screw holes in, so it's going to be a claret back the whole way along. I already had some previous holes from the shelf we had here, and they're just not in the right position for the previous holes. So let's see if we can update the design to make them fit on the current holes. Just to make sure that it would work with a screw hole, we placed one as high as it can go, and I did actually put a few screw holes here, one in the top right corner and went to go one to the left. But then I noticed that by stacking them down, the blue hexagon there actually lines up pretty nicely to the existing screw hole. I also had to double check I could fit at least 5 of these above the current shelves, and the shelves are actually a little bit shorter, I think, than they were recording this, so maybe we can get a 6th in. And because they're hexagons, every other row will sit half a hexagon lower, so I did double check this too. What I almost didn't notice was because of the way the units were on top, they had to sit a little lower, and that would mean that I wouldn't need the screw at the top and would just save me like a couple minutes work. This is the furthest it goes along, and it's so annoyingly close, but to design our own one, all I had to do was stretch out that hole in the middle. Maybe this would have worked with some of the holes I've already covered up. I measured from one hole to another hole on separate hexagons because we did have 2 or 3 supporting the previous wall, so that I could then stretch it out and see if it did line up to some of the holes I'd just recently filled. And no, it was like half a hexagon off. There was no way we were getting this to work. Even though those holes might not work, I'm not giving up on this new one. Take a look at this. I did design the back completely myself. It's just a shame I forgot to include the minifigure base. So for the last couple of weeks, we've had Darth Jar Jar sitting on it to cover up the fact it's not going to fit a minifigure. And I really like Darth Jar Jar here. So Jar Jar might become a more permanent part of the display. We might not add 1 or 2 above, and we'll just build it out from the side and going all the way down. There's a second hole there to support the initial wall, and then as we build across, I'll just drill a hole wherever we need to put it. This is where the fun begins, because the hardest part of dealing with these hexagons is trying to have it so that 2 colors aren't together. And beforehand, I was only printing with probably like 4 colors from the start. We had green, red, blue, and I want to say yellow. I feel like I didn't use whites or any of the greys until later on. I don't know, I have to fact check myself on that. But we only used a limited amount of colors, which meant that usually there were 2 colors of hexagons around each of the hexagon, 2 of each color. So there'd be 2 greens surrounding the same one. And when you're building that out, it gets quite confusing. Now, what we could do is just take 5 different colors and line them up so that every single line has colors differently. Maybe repeat a few patterns here and there. That would make it real easy. But since then, we've used a few more colors, and I've actually got 13, 14 different rolls of filament in front of me. So if I do need to fill any gaps, it'll be fairly easy to do. And like I said at the top of the video, we've got a few more clones that actually need to be put on the wall since I broke it down. In fact, 2 of the clones that are going on the wall come from that 10K subscriber special UCS Django Slave 1. Because our clone wall does not discriminate. They don't have to fight for the Republic. Has that been open for quite some time? The top of the Juggernaut, they just have to be clones. So we should include our Palpatine clone as well, which is up there on the display with the rest of my Star Wars minifigures. Well, I say rest of, it's not really the rest of my Star Wars minifigures. There's a lot there, there's like 500 there. But then we also have a load of Rebels like Jawas, Tuskens, all the other characters, Bounty Hunters galore, and a few of my other collections, which are just down here in the shelf. I guess the real reason I display minifigures separately to all the builds is just to clear up the shelves for other builds and other collections that might not be Lego. But a few still sneak their way up on it. But I think you all want to see this thing built, so I'm going to set up a time lapse, leave you with that, and don't forget, channel members do get a bonus video today taking a look at some of the behind the scenes, including some moments from this time lapse. There we go, the wall is complete. There was a few different duplicates. My aim of the game was to try and make it so that no 2 colours were beside themselves. I did fail twice. We've got 2 greens and 2 greens there. You wouldn't have seen that if I didn't point that out to you. But the rest of the wall has done really well. No 2 colours are too close. We're talking about like 2 points of connections away, which is well for the colours that I had. But now's the fun part where we've got to fill it with clones and see if I can find enough 4x3 bases or the likes to fill this thing, because I've just used a ton of them for my other collections. That did take a little longer than I would have liked, but I can't say it doesn't look awesome seeing all the clones. Just look at that. All the clones lined up. So at the front we've got the official ones, and some of them are rare. I mean, it kind of bleeds into the back around there. But then this section here are all the custom clones, and you can see the 212 Airborne, the only official Lego one I'm yet to get. If anyone wants to donate one to the channel, please do let me know. That would probably be the only thing better than hitting 20k subs this year. I have all the 2020 clones up till August 1st otherwise, and I've got rid of a few of them. A lot of the clones here, I had like the Ahsoka helmet on the 501st Specialist Battle Pack, and I felt like whilst they work as customs, it just packs it out a bit too much compared to what I'd like. So I'm only including clones here that have variants that are, you know, starkly different. If they bring back this Coruscant Guard, and I don't know, one of the lines is grey instead of black, something like that, I really don't care for it on this wall. We've only got so much space, so I'm going to include different legions and different troops. The 501st Specialist each are represented in, you got the Jet Trooper, the Specialist, the Heavy, the Officer, and the Regular down there. There's the old 501st as well, next to this year's gift with purchase. So there are a few custom figures I still will be including, like my Clone Wars Cadet here, which when I pick up the Slave One, that Slave One set over there, I'm going to be taking the Boba from it and using arms from the gift with purchase and the legs from the Popcorn Costume CMF, combining them to make that. There's a few other customs here. Crosshair there has the bandage on the head, and that's taken from a, I think it's a Lego City Magazine polybag, so that was a good pickup there. I don't know where this guy's helmet is. It might have been one of the Phase 1 helmets that I've thrown in the box, because I can't see a regular Phase 1 Clone Trooper, so I'm going to have to hunt for the Clone Wars style Phase 1. We've got the regular Phase 1 behind, and the... Is that the... No, that's not the gunship one. That's the one from the little pack. But anyway, time to fit all of these on the start. We're going to start with like 501st, and some of the Lego ones go less common with the Phase 1s, and then blend our way into finishing off with customs on this left-hand side. There we have our finished Clone Trooper wall, or Clone Wall, I don't know. The members are deciding a better name for it. And speaking of, shout out to all you members for supporting the channel. The Clone Wall is kind of hidden behind the 3D printer. I think the good thing about it is it's so open and the printer sticks out so much that all the clones at some point are visible. You can see every single one of them back here, maybe with the exception of behind the board. You have to really lean around to see those few customs, but at least all the official Lego ones are visible from me being sat at my desk, and it's now nice to look back on them, see what clones I do and don't have, and that will also be the background of pretty much every video going forward. I would love to tell you that these boxes, we've got this old filament box which my clones were being stored in, and both sides of Jango Fett's UCS Slave One or Starship would be got rid of, and that's them out of the room. But actually, I'm going to use both of these trays similar to how I use both halves of the Dark Falcon box, which is just smaller than this, to house all my parted out sets. As I'm breaking them down, I usually break them down into one big box or bag. At the minute, they're chilling in a Lego store bag. I'm impressed that it can hold like 20 kilos of Lego, or just over, I think it was. But they're easier to sort from here. I can then take all the big chunks out and whack it in my wooden sorting tray. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like on your way out and check out the videos on screen. Until next time, may the bricks be with you, always.